Opinions discussed on Canadian Love by our guests are not representative of the crew or host. Facts may be referenced that we cannot back up, so please don't listen to everything you hear on the internet. Resources mentioned in the video will be listed in the description below. Please do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Thank you.
Today on Canadian Love, we'll be interviewing this beautiful human, Beau, a non-binary Canadian who also has dissociative identity disorder. Beau, prepare for some Canadian Love. So, Beau, thank you so much for coming to Canadian Love. We're really excited to hear your story and try to understand it a little bit. And again, this is now the third time I'm saying this because we were taking, but because I had beads on that hit the mic. But we're not about agreeing with your views. We're not about disagreeing with them. We're about understanding your human lived experience and how that is integrated into the issues you're passionate about and your views on politics and all that sort of stuff. So what we start by doing is just getting a quick read on, for someone who has never met you, how would you describe yourself as a human, as a Canadian, as issues you're passionate about? Where would you put yourself?
Probably the way I would describe myself best is just a person of many different genres.
Okay.
I don't have one specific trait that defines me. I've got so many. There's so many things that could describe me.
Okay.
Every person I run into, I try to act a little different around to see how they react, and I'll play off of them,
Okay.
It's kind
That's
of
fair.
Yeah, it's kind of unique in the sense that not a lot of people have a different way they act around everyone. Of course you're going to act differently from your mom to your boss. But
fair, yeah. I don't swear in front of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to carry yourself relatively the same around everyone, just so that they all know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and you got to play off differently, and people get to see different sides of myself.
Okay.
So it gets to be kind of interesting.
That is interesting. So you'd say you were very much a several-sided person.
A little bit literal, yeah.
A little literal. Okay.
A little
How so
literal.
literally.
So I have this condition called dissociative identity disorder, and what that is basically, for anyone who's seen Split, it's the main character has it. It's the disorder where your brain uses multiple people to cope with a trauma. So I had my trauma as a kid, we won't get into that, but now I've got this coping mechanism, which is I get super stressed, a different personality comes out to front, to bear that guilt or whatever.
That is very fascinating. So trauma happened, and then how does your brain turn this into the coping mechanism? Can I ask? What happens that is the coping mechanism?
So in the case that, I'm Beau right now, but in the I'll just refer to myself in the third person to make it easy.
Sure.
If Beau gets too stressed, maybe a different personality who my brain has turned into someone who can take stress will come out to exist for a bit. And I've had it diagnosed at least for 7 years now, maybe 6 years. So at this point, we've got a kind of system going on where every time I'm too stressed, they'll just immediately go out to take it for me. And they know to act like me a little bit and to not use their accents and stuff like that.
Oh my God, they have accents?
Oh, some of them.
This is amazing. Okay, so I'm a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons. It's like you have a D&D team inside of you, and it's time for Barbarian Jim to come out. Oh!
That's pretty much it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm getting a little stressed. I need 5. Tag me in. Yeah, I'll handle this.
Yeah, we'll send Gary in, and then later on, JoJo can come in. It'll be fine.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a really emotional moment. JoJo, are you free right now? Because you're really great with this stuff.
He's the worst for that.
Oh, wow, okay. I take it back.
But it's okay.
Beau, I don't know how intimate you're ready to get, but can I hear about which personalities you have going?
Yeah, okay. I don't remember how many. 20-something. There's a lot.
Wow, yeah, that's insane.
If I get too stressed, and nobody can handle it, sometimes the brain will even pump out a new one after that. And
wow.
I actually kind of don't like that when that happens because it hurts. It's traumatic, right? It's I forget things, and I'll come out later, 2 hours later, and be like, what happened in that space?
Oh, wow.
We have journals to keep track of it, things like that.
That's amazing that you have journals.
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes in a work environment or in a friend's environment because they'll say oh, remember that one time when we did this? And I'll be like, I don't remember any of what just happened. I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
Wow.
Because someone else experienced it for me.
Yeah, that's insane. So how how good are your different personalities at sharing information and communicating with each other? Probably a lot better now. It sounds like you've got systems in place now.
Yeah, a lot better now. It happened a lot at work where I wouldn't remember what I was doing in the middle of doing it. I worked preparing sandwiches at my old job.
Yeah.
And I would have like 144 paninis I had to do. And in the beginning, I never wrote lists because I was just like, I can do it all. Sure. And I would find out that none of it got done and I would get in trouble because I don't remember doing it. Wow. So it never got done.
Because JoJo's just like, yo, guys, I made some sandwiches. And Jeff's like, what? Wait, what? What? I'm just going to make some sandwiches. No, man, I made some sandwiches. No, man, I'm going to...
Literally, yeah.
Wow.
I had to write down everything, and normally someone would just to remember it off the top of their head.
Sure.
But it's especially critical for me, because, like, I'll switch out with, like, Ellie, and Ellie will be like, I don't even know how to make sandwiches.
Okay, so noted. Ellie does not know how to make sandwiches.
She knows how to make soup, and that's about it.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is so fascinating. And I bet when you read your journals, you can see, like, oh, this is from JoJo, and this is from...
I'm trying to look now if I have one. They all have different handwritings too.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It becomes kind of difficult. Especially I used to write notes for myself at work and I would post them to my register and it would say like, here are my breaks, and I would write them down so I don't forget. Or like a reminder of something I had to do today so that if somebody else comes out to do it, they'll know what they have to do.
Yeah.
We're a lot better about it now, but we didn't used to be. It took a long time.
And, sorry, and I just realized, I just caught myself on this. So when you say, you know, you write yourself notes so that someone else would know what to do, you don't mean... Oh,
notebook.
Amazing. Thank you.
Oh, God.
You don't even mean like someone else like your coworkers. You mean like someone else like one of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Okay.
This is very, very cool. And it sounds stressful, and I'm sorry for that. But it's also...
There's a lot of profanity in this book because we get frustrated a lot. Like
Totally.
there's Edward's handwriting. We'll show you in a minute here. Edward's handwriting is this.
Can I read
it's
it
just
out loud?
rough. If you'd like. So there's the entry. It's like February 2nd. I can say it in his voice if you want.
Can you?
I'm
Will
not...
it make Edward come out?
Maybe? I hope not.
If Edward does come out, can you tell us so that I know?
He'll be like, hey, it's Edward, whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so February 2nd, Hyde's fucking stuck! Exactly what it says on the tin, Lamau. Christian brought Timbits. My mouth is full of saliva thinking about him.
Wow. So Edward is Cockney.
I don't sound like Edward at all. Anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, from
He's
what you were it's so funny that you're trying to imitate an accent and a voice that is also yours, and that if something stressful happened, you would start doing his actual voice, and it's like... And you're judging yourself on your ability to do an impression of a personality that is also yours.
It's true. Some of the people in my head have chosen names to represent themselves by that are just names of characters that I like, because the brain goes, that character looks like they know what they're doing. I'm gonna name one of your alters after that character.
Yeah.
And like they'll come up to me and be like, hey, my name is Dr. Jekyll. I'll be like, cool.
Wow.
It's great.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and I've been hanging out with a bunch of hippies lately. That's why I was trying to wear the prayer beads at the start, because, you know, I've been into that meditation stuff.
On that scene, yeah.
Oh God, it's so good. They're all so great at communicating. They'll be like, hey, I hear that you're talking from this emotion, and I want to care for that emotion that you're feeling. I will let you know that I need you to acknowledge that I feel this emotion when you do that. It's a dream communicating with them.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah.
But one thing that I've been hearing is that they'll be like, yeah, you know, I recognize that there's a part of my brain that is my inner 5-year-old that needs this and will come out when this happens. Yeah. You know, and then I have, like, the one I was talking to the other is like, I have a 12-year-old who's super angsty and, you know, is protecting me from the world because my 12-year-old self got bullied a lot. Right. So I have an inner 12-year-old that's out there with a sword being like, you know, and 12-year-old me is like, what did you just say? Like, you know, and sometimes she'll, like, you know, bark at people and be like, sorry, inner 12-year-old, very angsty, you know?
Yeah.
But she also has the backup, her I don't know, the overall person that is sort of watching these things and acknowledging them. Yeah. So it sounds like sometimes you don't have that and you are 100% each of these people. Mm-hmm. Do you ever become one of the people and sort of notice? Like, what's the transition like? Do you notice yourself transitioning?
Sometimes there are different transitions for each person. Some of them are just, a lot of them are just like seamless. Like I will not even notice that I've changed, obviously, because like it's a different person now.
Yeah.
Whenever I turn into Henry, I make it sound like there's some kind of beastly transformation involved.
Yeah.
He literally, like, hold on, he goes like, like he just gasps real loud. And you will know right away because it's like, oh God, that's Henry. He just gasped a lot.
Do you notice yourself gasping and you're like, oh, I guess I'm Henry?
No,
or
I
you just
don't.
are now Henry,
I'm
so
now
you don't notice.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't even technically be like I am Henry. It would be like Henry is Henry now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, Henry notices because he just came out.
Yeah. Henry's like, hello, I'm here.
Whenever Lento fronts, he blinks a lot. So if you ever catch me like as if there's something in my eye, sometimes there's genuinely something in my eye. But he blinks absurdly a lot.
Wow.
It's different from person to person, and like most of the time I won't notice it because I'm just here being me.
Yeah.
But it's an issue of they will notice.
Yeah, of course.
And the people around me will notice.
You know, is there something in your eye, or is that just Lento? Like,
it might be Lento.
Yeah, I see.
That's where part of the communication comes from too. And my spouse also has the disorder, so like he's able now to tell exactly when someone else is fronting.
Yeah,
like even right now he might be like, that doesn't sound like Beau over there, and then I'll be like, it'll be like, yeah, no, that's definitely Beau.
Okay, nice. Yeah. That's amazing. And you said that you and your partner, who both have these, some of them are dating.
Some of them are dating, yeah.
Yeah.
So
do some of them not like each other? Like,
there are several who don't.
how?
We don't let them front. Well, I mean, I would say don't let them front, but sometimes they get stuck, and it's inevitable. Unfortunately, our systems force front a lot. Like, not a lot of people with DID force front, and what that means is basically making someone else come out by sheer will, or if they want to come out, we'll just have them come out. It hurts. It gives me headaches.
So you feel physical pain when you force one of them to come out?
Yeah. And like some of them react differently. I know one of my spouse's alters has asthmatic attacks sometimes from breathing too hard or exerting exercise, whatever. But he doesn't have asthma himself.
Yeah, he doesn't have asthma, which is a physical thing.
Yeah.
But because his personality, a personality has asthma?
Yeah.
Wow.
So like it might not be like an actual asthma thing.
Yeah.
But the way that
it's
alter reacts to things makes it seem like they might have asthma.
Similar to asthma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Heightened anxiety in others, depression in others. Yeah. Some of them just clean the whole house in 10 minutes. Some of them can't do it in 10 days. Like, they're all different people.
That is amazing. That is such an amazing thing. It sounds like a lot to deal with.
Yeah, it affects every part of my being.
Yeah.
Every part of everything I do is affected by it somehow.
Yeah, definitely. That's a lot.
It's quite a bit.
I have a lot of respect for both of you that you're dealing with it. It sounds like it brings you a lot of self-awareness. Like, there are people who don't have this amount of self-awareness about their only personality.
Like just one of them, yeah.
So I'm impressed by that. Yeah,
I'm forced to come to terms with a lot of it. I know that some people, when they front and they're at work, they don't know how to do it. So I have a journal at work that I have to keep on my person when I'm at work, just in case someone comes out who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because
I love
you write
the way
things.
You phrase that too.
Yeah.
You know, just in case someone comes out who just doesn't know what's going on. Like, I got some notes for them.
I did confront my boss about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, I'm getting promoted to a supervisor position, and in that case, I literally need to tell him in case something goes wrong and he doesn't know what's going on.
100%.
So I told him, I sat him down and I discussed it with him. And he's like, I understand now why you carry a notebook with all the things. I understand why your handwriting changes every other minute. And I'm like, yeah, that's because it's not me all the time.
Wow.
But it did unnerve him quite a bit because he was like, okay, I have seen Split. Like, are you going to become that? And I'm like, no, I'm not.
Okay. So would you say that there is a stigma for people with, DIS?
DID.
DID, thank you. Yeah, like like when people find out, like what's that like?
It's difficult. A lot of the stigma comes from they've already seen a piece of media that portrays us villainously.
Right.
And they think by automatic default that I will act the same.
Right.
So,
They've
like,
seen that, like, there's Split, where the guy
There's
becomes a
Split.
beast.
There's the Mummy's interpretation of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And the original Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde aren't very nice either.
True, which is funny because I don't think they were about DID. I think they were about
No, they
alcoholism or something like that.
Yeah, the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was literally about. I was obsessed with it. Still am a little bit.
Which is understandable.
Yeah,
like,
I relate to it in a way.
Yeah.
It was about a guy who just wanted to escape his posh life and be a ragamuffin for a couple nights, and it went horribly wrong.
oh, wow.
It had nothing to do with DID, but that's the only representation I've got. So I
Yeah.
don't have much of a choice but to kind of adhere to it a little bit. Yeah.
So are people sort of nervous around you, or like what would?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had people say, like, do you have any dangerous ones? And I'm like, well, I mean, dangerous how? Like, they're going to come out and murder you? No.
Okay, good.
Like,
So no murderous ones.
Like,
That's good.
they get verbally aggressive? Yes. Do they
Yeah.
get physically aggressive? Not really.
Okay.
I don't have any anymore, anyway. I had one that went dormant who was nasty.
Oh yeah. Fair.
But he's no longer... I mean, he's still a part of the system, but he's way back there, you know? He doesn't
Yeah.
front at all anymore, I don't think.
Well, that sounds positive.
Yeah.
And I mean,
no.
he was probably doing that because he represented
Some
the part of your
kind
brain that was very
repression.
hurt.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I don't tell people that one because
Fair, yeah.
I don't want to startle them, and I don't like keeping secrets. But
Yeah.
I have no choice if they're gonna react negatively.
That's well, and I think that's a very good point. Is that when people are like, well, why can't you be more upfront about it? Because there's a stigma. You could be more upfront about it, and probably it would make your life easier if you didn't have people being like, yeah, like, whoa, are you gonna like?
Are you gonna walk up the walls just now? Like,
Now, see, that one to me is cool. Like,
yeah, no, it
hey,
would
I
be
have
cool.
DID. Oh my God, can you like climb walls and like
Yeah.
rip people apart?
because like one of the things that the main character in Split did was kidnap 3 girls, and like that was the whole movie. You know?
Okay, yeah.
So the whole thing was he kidnapped 3 girls and tortured them and killed 2 of them and whatever. And that's where a lot of the stigma comes up, is because people have seen that and they
yeah.
react so negatively, and they don't give me a lot of opportunity.
Yeah,
So
for
it
sure.
kind of forces me to keep it a bit of a secret, if only so that, like, for self-preservation purposes.
Yeah, of course.
And also so that my job isn't compromised or anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, if people are gonna see you negatively, then obviously you're gonna have to protect yourself. That makes total sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
That does sound like a lot to deal with. I mean, it must be hard to not be able to voice something of yourself.
Oh, it's very difficult. Yeah, keeping it all in.
Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, and you're talking about like, well, you do have some personalities that get a little angry and verbally abusive. I'll be honest, like,
Yeah, I know.
on a bad day with no coffee, Michael Mazurkovich gets a little angry and verbally stringent.
Literally, yeah.
And I'm a pretty nice guy, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not true. But, yeah, but one thing that this makes me want to ask, stop me if I shouldn't, but
You should be fine.
okay, well, fair enough, thank you.
Full disclosure.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This thing about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde being about really just escapism and a guy who just wants, feels repressed and wants to let loose, as opposed to, what people think that's about, which is, DID. It makes me wonder, like, we all, I think everyone has things that have hurt them or that they're trying to escape, or lives that they're trying to put together or escape from. At the risk of sounding like a super douche,
Okay, I don't mind.
is there anything that you, as someone who has lived with DID, can give as wisdom to people who have never lived with DID about dealing with different parts of their lives or personalities? Like, what has, at the risk of, like, I have every respect for how much this has done to what you've had to live through, but has it taught you anything? Is there anything you've learned from all of this?
Yeah, I feel like most people would take something away from something in their life that just stays with them for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
I think the experience I took away was self-reflection is the most vital human skill.
Wow.
That's just a personal opinion. It's not the solid truth, but I think it truly in my heart, self-reflection is the most important human tool.
Yeah.
I notice a lot that, like, I will take something into account, or like an alter of mine will have taken something into account about themselves or myself.
Yeah.
And they'll work on fixing it, because not only do they want to be like the person that they admire or the person they strive to be, but they also want people to like them in the same way they like that person.
Yeah.
And not everyone knows that skill. They'll be so defensive over everything.
Yeah.
And they'll say, okay, you've given me criticism. I'm going to throw that away because I don't think you're right.
Yeah,
And
I can't handle the negative aspect of it, so I'm just not going to engage with what someone's saying that could maybe help me.
Yeah, like apologies are the greatest words. And they only work if you actually mean them in the way that you're going to act on them.
Yeah.
Because you could apologize for, this is a serious topic, but for like hitting someone or abusing someone.
Yeah.
But the apology kind of goes out the window and means nothing if you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because that means you didn't self-reflect. You just want that guilt off your shoulders for a couple minutes. Yeah, and that's something that I've come to take away from everything.
So what you're saying is that like you can apologize for something until you're blue in the face, but it is through self-reflection and actually analyzing why you did things that you can actually change it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's part of the way that my brain coped with the trauma as well.
Yeah.
Was reflecting on why it even came up with this coping strategy, right? Because like it's like, okay, why couldn't I have just like gone to therapy, taken up a book, something like that? Why did I decide why did I decide to split my brain a bunch? Like I didn't choose consciously, but why did my brain do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that I've thought about so much, and I still don't know why, because it's my brain and we don't know a lot about it.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, self-reflection, very, very important.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing.
Of course.
Another thing that that this makes me want to ask about. So you have several people living inside of you. Mm-hmm. Where does that put you with gender, if I may ask? Like you present as female, yes?
No, I present as non-binary.
Present as non-binary.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I present as non-binary. A lot of my alters present differently. I think I have a couple of people in there who also present non-binary.
Yeah.
I think majority of my alters actually present male. Okay. So I don't know what that says about my psyche.
Interesting.
But my first alter, besides, I don't really count. I'm the host, so to speak. But my first
Such
alter,
a cool way to think of that.
my first alter who appeared after the trauma designated himself as male.
Yeah.
And several after that also designated themselves male. And I've got, off the top of my head, 4 females, maybe more, but I'm remembering it wrong. But I have a list. Okay. Because I don't,
So your personalities are a blend, but overall male.
Majority male.
You yourself are non-binary. Mm-hmm. Okay. Can I... Oh, that looks great on you, by the way. So you said designate themselves, which I think is interesting because I think that sort of speaks to where everybody's gender identity comes from.
Right.
So tell me about that. How can you tell that one is male or female? Like how does a personality that your brain has, created inside of you that is now a real thing, that is this personality, how does it find its gender?
A lot of the times it's just, I said so. I am this gender because that's...
It is that gender.
Because either that's how it is or because that's just how I feel.
Yeah. The personality sort of comes with it.
Exactly. Technically speaking, a female alter who is fronting would be cisgender because that's the body that I was designated with or born with or whatever. I don't know the technical terms.
So occasionally you are a cisgendered female.
On occasion this body presents female officially.
Yeah.
Every other time pretty much is technically transgender, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult for a lot of them because they don't have the correct body. A lot of them feel gender dysphoric. Or they just don't feel comfortable at all. Many of them don't even front because of it, because they just feel so bad about their body.
Really?
Yeah. It's, in the mental space. I don't want to say that it's like a physical space, because it's not. It's all figurative and imaginative.
Sure. I mean, I would say that reality as we perceive it is a mental space. So.
It's true, yeah. No, a lot of the time, I guess like the envisionment of who they would be if they were a physical body, is the easiest way to explain it. A lot of them are cisgender male.
Okay, wow.
A couple of them are actually transgender male, which is correct for this. But
fair.
Which is technically, it's technically correct.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't enjoy to front because they're 6 feet tall and they suddenly don't like being 5 foot tall or something. Or their voice is usually a lot deeper, but it's not, and they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's so amazing that you have these personalities that are your personalities that have a different physical, have a different body, but have a different spiritual body.
Yeah, kind of,
but and then they're in your physical body, and they're like, what am I doing here? I'm 6'4". I don't know what you're doing, but sure. That's pretty wild.
It's a little rough. Yeah.
And this is something that I think, and I'm a cis male, and I'm sure some of the people watching this are cis males. That a lot of cisgendered people don't really understand is what it feels like to have gender dysphoria. But I think you've got a very interesting take on this, because you literally will, become a 6 foot tall cis male who's still living in this body that is technically a female body.
Yeah.
What's that like? What's the emotional experience of that?
I wouldn't be able to talk to it because I'm not that person, but if I've talked with him before in the journals and stuff about it.
Yeah, you've seen his journal entries.
Yeah, his name was Klaus.
Klaus, wow.
He's actually black, but I can't exactly talk to that because I'm not.
Fair.
And he doesn't like to talk about it either, because it's just weird to like mentally be black. Mentally, that's stupid. Don't listen to me. And then come out and you're just not. So he just doesn't like to think about it at all. Yeah. He would rather think of himself as just like the white envy, whatever. When he comes out.
Sure, yeah. He doesn't. He knows he's black. He's black, but nobody really talks.
No, exactly. Like we're just gonna leave it at that.
I wonder. I mean, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. We'll circle back in.
That's okay. Yeah.
But this makes me wonder so much, because I know that there are people who associate as different skin colors.
Right.
And I think there was someone in the news who was like, I'm white, but I am, my personality is a black person in this white body. And I mean, it makes me think of like the idea of souls coming back into different bodies and stuff like that. I don't know. It's very interesting to me.
I've never actually met someone who thinks that way. However, I do know they exist, and I'm not going to say they don't.
Yeah, and one of your personalities
technically is that. Yeah. Technically falls in that category.
Which is fascinating.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't speak much to that.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an interesting perspective, because it's almost like being, okay, I'm 19, but spiritually I'm 49. It's like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because that's a physicality. Yeah. It's not something
your body has been on the earth for 19 years.
Exactly, yeah. Or like your body was physically born with either this genetic disorder, this skin color, this nose job, whatever. Like, but it's, in my opinion, not quite the same as saying like my gender is different. Yeah. Because gender and sex don't align at all. However, skin color is kind of a concrete thing. You can't really change it. Yeah. And having a different skin color doesn't change your personality in any way. And I don't feel like, gender doesn't either, but I don't feel like that's something, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say. I don't have a lot of words on these subjects.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very
it's a very different way to live. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the gender thing is fascinating.
Yeah.
So, Beau, the host.
Host Beau.
Host Beau. Yeah. I like it. Host Beau.
Host Beau.
Host Beau associates as trans.
Yes.
So, pronoun-wise, how should I be referring to you?
Pronouns are they, them.
They, them.
For Beau.
Okay.
Beau.
And can I ask you, because your physical form does look somewhat female. Mm-hmm. What is that like for you? I mean, what's the emotional experience of being out in public and someone being like, "Oh, she's over there," or like what? I assume you get that sometimes. What's that like?
I get it literally every day. I mean, I don't really bind. I don't strive to become an androgynous person. Yeah. Androgynous person, and I feel like I don't need to be an androgynous person in order to still represent as non-binary. Yeah. So it's never been an issue for me that somebody mistakes me for female, just because I get it. At face value, you would think I was a girl, right? It just makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
If that's how you were raised, like, okay, that person has breasts, they're a girl, So I can't really fault anyone for saying that I'm a girl, unless like we're colleagues and I've told you 1,000 times and you say you're working on it, but you're clearly not, some kind of thing. Yeah.
That's fair. Like if some colleague of mine is like, "Hey, Kevin," and I'm like, "Oh, it's Michael." And they're like, "Oh, sorry, you look like a Kevin to me." Yeah. And then 3 months later, they're still going, "Hey, Kevin." Sooner or later, I'm like, "Listen, man, like, I get that I look like a Kevin to you, but we've talked about this. My name is Michael. Please call me Michael."
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes like perfect sense.
Yeah.
So, if I may, because, technically this show does lean towards political discussions.
Yes.
The bill about pronouns, I believe it's C16. Bill C16. Where do you stand on that bill?
I don't know a lot about it, if I'm being honest.
Okay. I think the idea is... Zach, do you want to weigh in here? Do you want to lean in so that you're on camera while you say this? You don't have to.
What's the best? Am I in
Just,
frame?
yeah, get out and get...
You're
Yes.
in my frame now.
Okay, good, yeah.
I'll come sit next to my dad.
Yeah, you're talking about... Wait a second.
Talking to the toga.
Yeah, talking about...
So basically, Bill C-16 is the idea that if someone is misgendered, they can then charge, contact the CRTC, who can then charge the person who misgendered the person. So say I misgendered you. I assume you're female. Mm-hmm. You can then contact the CRTC, and then I could get charged with a large fine, I believe. That's my understanding of it.
Okay. By that understanding, I have some words.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I feel like, and this, like, in the world where I am the boss, this is not, like, I know that I'm not the boss, but in the world where I'm the boss, let's just say, that's kind of silly, because it's not, I'm sure it wouldn't be malicious. If it were a malicious intent thing, that would be cause for alarm, and that could definitely be fined or charged. But I don't think that accidentally misgendering someone is any grounds to charge someone money to remedy the fact. Because then you could very easily do, like what I do is go out and, like, just look like a female, right? Even though I know I'm non-binary. But then if any passing person says that I look like a girl, or they say she in my reference, then I can immediately be like, you're caught, I'm going to charge you.
Right.
And I don't feel like that's very fair.
It's fair, yeah.
I don't like to use the word trap because it's associated with a lot of negative connotations, but it's a bit of a trap.
Yeah, fair, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I would agree with you, but because of that, I'm going to offer what I've just thought of, which is the other side, which is, in a way, it really puts the power onto the non-binary, to trans people.
It does.
Because it's them who would take the initiative to contact this CRTC. What does that stand for, by the way?
Canadian Transgender...
You're missing an R.
Canadian
CRTC.
Representative of Transgender Councils.
Oh, really?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I mean...
Kale!
Close.
That's not Maxwell, that's Kale. He's been out this whole dang time, ever since he put the wig on. Anyway.
Oh, really? So, okay, so circling back to that.
Oh!
So, there are certain things that you'll do, like, Kale feels more comfortable in a wig, and will throw the wig on, and then you see the wig and you know it's Kale.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Now, I could just be able to tell. I know that that's his notebook. It's got cats on it.
Wow.
I know that he makes certain facial expressions, like that pursed lip that you're doing right now. Max doesn't do that.
Interesting.
Most of the time, if, like, I'm not quite sure if it's Kale or Maxwell, like, I'll, Kale, and he can do, and I know it's him.
Okay. So
Yeah,
this is very cool.
Yeah, it's something you get to know about a person when you live with them and you are with them for so long.
Yeah.
But it's not something that, like, any person on the street would be like, that's a different person because they just put a wig on. Like, it would just be a person wearing a wig.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, honestly, it looks like just a person with curly black hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Frankly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so fascinating.
He doesn't always wear the wig either, so it wouldn't be like an immediate indicator. Like,
Right.
the only thing that immediately indicates that it's Kale is if either he says he's Kale or he confirms he's Kale.
Fair, yeah. But it is very interesting to me. And, I think in any good relationship, you pay attention to each other and you want to care for each other, and that makes you pay attention to each other's emotional needs, and that makes you pay attention to each other's signals of their emotional needs.
Exactly.
And it sounds very similar, just on a much more involved level, because it's not just emotional needs, it's also the personality with those needs.
Right, yeah. Different people have different needs. Oh my gosh, the cat is completely stuck.
Can someone help the cat out,
Someone
literally
help
out
the
of the
child.
bag?
Oh! She's fine now as soon as someone goes over to help her.
Oh, yeah, fair.
CRTC is the Canadian Telecast Radio something.
Canadian Telecast.
Radio Telecast
Canadian Radio Telecast.
something.
Okay.
I had it open, I just...
Excuse me.
Anyway, so going back to that point, I think what's interesting with that is that it very much puts the power in the hands of the transgendered person.
It does.
Because if they, if someone's like, oh,
Sorry to interrupt, but there is actually a part of the bill that states that if someone else hears someone being misgendered, they can then also called it CRTC.
So like a friend or a bystander?
If Lily hears me misgender you, she can then charge me.
And she would get the cut, or I would get the cut?
No one gets the cut. It's just
charging.
I believe it's just the government.
The government wants to make money off of trans people.
It does sound like the government making money off of trans people, doesn't it?
A little bit, but I mean, they make money off of everyone, so it's
that's
not
fair.
like
Yeah,
a
they
thing.
are the government. They make money. That's what they do.
At this point, no one's been charged with it.
No one's been. Well, and I think
Bills in effect?
Bills in effect. I've seen two. We're talking over everybody now.
That's okay.
that's fine.
We're
Our
towards the
camera
end.
team is weighing
I
in
did
here.
some research looking into. So there have been no official charges, but there has been two in BC there have been like attempts, like a small child at school has been misgendered by the principal, and the parent stepped in and says, "You're misgendering my kid. I'm going to contact the CRTC."
Okay. And see, that's I think C16 could be a good thing because it empowers transgendered people to have something in their back pocket where if someone is being a dick,
Just
they
straight
can
up.
say, listen, like, this is kind of a big thing. If I've told you 7 times, if you continue to call me he, I can call in the CRTC. And and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it could be more loving. I think it could be more of a...
Could be with more care.
Yeah, with a warning system, or it could be, instead of a bill, it could be a public education thing. But now that they've done it anyway, it does put the onus on trans people to... Is that a good thing to say? Trans people?
Trans people, yeah.
Yeah.
Transgendered, no, but transgender, yes.
Really?
Yeah, transgendered implies that it's like some kind of a condition. Like they're transgendered.
Right.
Yeah, or something. Or it's like something that someone can say to a person, like, you're so transgendered. Like,
Wow, I would never have thought of that.
Because, like, I don't know the exact technical way that it's not correct, but I do know that it's not correct and that it can be used to just attack a person.
Right.
As opposed to just transgender.
Right.
Or trans. Okay. Yeah.
That's very
And of course,
interesting.
trannies, no.
Trannies is out.
That's a slur. Straight up.
Got it. Trannies. It's a slur. Don't use it.
Don't even talk about it.
Wow, we shouldn't have.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, okay, noted. I think that's interesting. Do people ever insult cisgender people by being like, oh, you're so cisgendered?
Honestly, yes. I'm not going
Really?
to say it doesn't happen because it totally does.
Yeah.
Because people, I mean, this is a generalization by a long stand, but I know that there are many people, cis and trans and otherwise and everything, who do say, like, all cis people act a certain way, or all cis people do this, and they fail to realize that not all cis people do that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, there is the rule that if you encompass everyone, then everyone will be forced to self-reflect instead of... Because if you just say some cis people, then the ones who are nasty won't even self-reflect. They'll be like, oh, that doesn't mean me. But, like, it's still not a good thing to say, obviously, to generalize.
Interesting.
But that's why people say all instead of most or some, because then the people who actually need the message will think it's not about them.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I definitely think encouraging self-reflection is a good idea. I do like your stance on this, that you should be loving to trans people and you should be loving to cis people, but you should encourage self-reflection on all counts.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that's a very good... I really appreciate your personal stance on this.
For sure.
But yeah, but with the bill thing, I mean, it does sort of put the onus on trans people to be the loving ones and to say, hey, you've done this, you've misgendered me 7 times. Do I call in the CRTC or not? So I guess maybe it's a good thing that other people can as well. I do think a public relations campaign would have been better than a bill.
Perhaps, yeah.
But at the same time, like, as long as trans people are not being dicks,
That's true, yeah.
I think it's not necessarily a bad thing that they now have this in their back pocket to be able to call on if someone else is being a dick to them.
Yeah.
As long as they're not being dicks.
I do remember this isn't even Canadian politics, but there was a bill passed in Detroit, or the state of Michigan, where you were allowed to write they, them as your legal pronouns.
Okay, yeah.
Or like it was like a suggestion kind of thing. Like, this bill might pass, but we'll see what the public thinks, right?
Yeah.
And I personally, because I am they, them, I was like, okay, that would be kind of cool. We'll take what we can get, and it's one step forward in the right direction. The rest of the community I spoke with did not agree. They didn't they didn't think that it was a very good idea because it was either moving too quickly, is one of the excuses I heard. Another one was It's going to encourage people to just jokingly write they, them. It's going to encourage crime and things like that. So another really important thing to take away in politics, I think anyway, is to take what you can get and then encourage movement in the right direction, rather than saying that's not enough, or because like they know it's not enough. You don't have to repeat yourself or them.
Yeah,
but like they know that it's not enough and that we're not going to get the entirety of the package all at once. It has to come in small increments. We can't just introduce like the entirety of every good law all at once. Chaos will ensue.
I mean, fair, yeah.
It has to come slowly.
I think part of what I'm seeing with, for example, Bill C-16 is that, humans are, like, the stigmas are getting a little bit lessened. Just, enough with things like pride that humans are now coming out and being like, hey, this is who I am. They've always been that way, but they're finally able to come out and say, hey, I am trans without getting lynched.
Exactly.
So they're finally able to start saying that, and society's sort of, whoa, wow, we've had these trans people all along. What do we do?
Sweat.
How about a bill? Don't say the wrong thing to them, or they can give you a fine.
Yep,
good.
That's a good
Handled.
thing.
Yep, good.
And then they think that's either enough or
Right.
that's the entirety of it. And it's like, well, no, there needs to be more. But
it's a step. As you say, it's a step in the right
it's a baby
direction.
step. We have to take baby steps in the right direction.
That's very fair.
I feel like that's the best way to make progress with such a huge issue like this, is to take the small steps. Because then once enough small steps are taken, it equals one big step.
Yeah, well, sure, yeah.
Because, like, we didn't get here. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Nice.
There's the it. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Oh yeah, this is Rome. I was not built in a day. It's taken me 30 years.
This is Rome.
My ego loves that way too much. Hello, I am Rome. I was not built in it. Apologies to any Italians watching this. Please don't get offended. I'm not appropriating your culture. Italian?
Kale's laughing because there's an Italian in that system.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He, like, speaks Italian and things.
Really? Speaks Italian?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely understand, like, the gradual progress thing, the baby steps. So Bill C-16, to some people it might seem a little over the top. What, we can just get fined for getting people's names wrong? For some people it might seem like it's not enough. But what I'm getting from you is that it's a small step in a gradual process to not needing things like Bill C-16, because everyone's just loving to each other.
Yeah. Like, it's a silly bill right now to me, but it'll be a lot sillier in 20 years once we've made the progress that we don't need that anymore.
Fair, yeah.
Like, right now it's probably important in ways that I can't understand, but...
Yeah, well, as you said, it's a small step in hopefully the right direction.
I very much hope so, yeah.
My last question for you is, for all the people watching this who, and we already did this with DID, nice. We already did this with DID, we already did this sort of, what you've learned and the self-reflection piece, which again, thank you, was very beautiful. So for all of our cis watchers, if there is something that you could just have cis people know to make interactions with you easier on you as you walk down the street and as you live your life, is there anything that you would just say to all of them?
In all honesty, okay, I'm gonna look right here. In all honesty, as long as you are acting with integrity and poise and respect, I really don't care what you call me, especially because if I correct you and you correct yourself afterwards, it shows me that you're learning, and it shows me that you really do give effort and you give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's important to, first of all, act like yourself, because nobody wants you to pretend that you care when you really don't. And second of all, to recognize when you aren't caring enough and do the self-reflection and make it genuine. That's where I want you to focus. Make it genuine. I think that's good.
That's beautiful. So basically just be loving to people, respect other humans.
Yeah.
And
if it comes difficult to you, then work on that. That's, what you need to work on then.
Yeah, fair, yeah. You don't need to get all upset. Well, okay, and one more thing. So one thing so that was beautiful. Thank you very much.
Of course.
I do have a follow-up question, which is that we deal a lot with the current disagreements between the right and the left, with the right saying, well, you snowflakes are terrible, and the left saying, well, you you Bible thumpers are the worst. And those are in themselves problematic generalizations, but just to sort of summarize that situation. So for the people who feel that it is their duty to get offended on the behalf of non-binary people, the people who are like, I am going to yell at other people, I'm going to yell at the cis to represent the trans people.
Right.
Following up on your thing of just be loving to each other, do you have any advice for them? Because I've some watchers who really deeply care about making sure that everyone feels loved, including the trans people,
right.
and sometimes end up non-loving to other people because they're trying so hard to do that.
I got into an argument on Twitter the other day about this. Okay, here we go.
Amazing.
I'm recycling footage. Okay, so what happens is when you are so dedicated to presenting love to a certain group of people, you're blindsided that you're not providing love to the other group of people. The best way to move forward in this situation, in my opinion, my word is not law, would be to just go forward and know that they're a person too. You just got to acknowledge that they've got their feelings, they've got their opinions. Your stance shouldn't be going in to change them, it should be going in to understand them. If you understand them, you're better and likely to help them. We're way more likely to help them if you understand them than you are going in trying to change their mind. You're not going to change their mind. But if you can understand them, then maybe you can get a better grasp on how they think.
Wow. Beau, you are such a loving, respectful person. You walk with so many issues that I can't even fathom.
I'm sitting with the issues right now.
I meant that metaphorically, but yes, you are literally, as we speak, sitting here with all of these issues, and yet you're still so loving and respectful. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for being on Canadian Love.
Ta-da!
Thank you for sharing all of this with us.
For sure.
We
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it.
Of course.
Oh, well, my pleasure.
Hey!
Their pleasure. Their pleasure.
Pleasure?
Pleasure. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, cut. This is a different topic now. Whoa. Woo.
Bye!